Hi everyone. As a part of our cybersecurity research, we have chosen Amazon, the billion-dollar tech giant, as a case study. Coming to Amazon, we all know that Amazon is a online retails tech giant which specializes in logistics, goods, payments, and it also has its hands into devices such as e-readers, Kindle e-readers, Fire TV. Also provides services such as Amazon Prime, and we also know that it is the largest cloud infrastructure provider. When it As we know that Amazon is an e-commerce business, the following are the common business risks encountered is usually information risk, the fear of losing the credentials to potential hackers, uh, transaction risk, the possibility of erasing of the transaction logs. When it comes to operation risks, the reliability of service, the availability of the services like the Amazon website, if it experiences a denial of service attack, what are the steps to be taken? Technology risks um, basically depends on the hardware and the network setup to provide the services on a constant basis, and a frequent and uh, most reputation damaging and complicated risk would be the business risk, where issues related to um, refund and return are handled. The following graph elaborates on the spike in number of the e-commerce stores throughout the last decade. Uh, so usually, um, every organization has its own strategic plan. So to avoid risks and downfalls, they usually set up their enterprise risk management plans, which usually is similar to what you see here. It starts with strategy, devising a strategy, identifying the possible risks and threats, assessing the exposure and the frequency of it, trying to avoid the risks by putting in certain access controls, input validation schemes, privacy policies, and using insurance as a way to mm, tackle, you know, disastrous damage to the company's services, and also monitoring and reporting the ERM plan so that the company can keep updating its plan. So when we look at the um, Amazon's way of working, the best way to manage it would be using the COSO framework, which was devised by the Committee of Sponsoring Organization of the Trade Commission back in 1992. That was when first it released the framework, and later updated in 2004 and then in 2013. The good thing about the COSO framework is it describes the key management principles and concepts and provides a common language and offers direction and guidance. It involves 8 major internal components like internal environment, objective setting, event identification, risk response, control activities, information, and monitoring. Uh, uh, the COSO framework has devised its graphically made it easier for the organizations by its very famous COSO Q, ERM Q. The main idea behind the ERM is to achieve the company's objectives. So the objectives could be divided in 4 categories: strategic, which involves the aims and objectives of the company, and operation objectives, which involves the effective operation of the services, and reporting, the reliability in reporting, and compliance is complying with the laws, so on and so forth. Well, the question is, why does a company like Amazon need a cybersecurity framework? Since we know that Amazon is an online retail giant, so that means it needs to focus more on the online security, because that's where it has to, you know, withhold its reputation, the availability and feasibility of its resources. Outside of this, the financial consequences which are caused by data breaches also harm its reputation. So devising a security framework is very much important. So when we look at the cybersecurity risk e-commerce faces, it usually is due to four basic things, like requirements of privacy. The customer details and credentials have to be kept, checked, and confidential. Integrity, and integrity basically is um, maintaining the original authentic transactions without being tampered by the hackers. And authentication is identifying the user by a two-step or three-step authentication process, and non-repudiation. So if you think a transaction has been made and you don't find it in the logs, then that is a troublesome thing. So looking at the types of risks and e-commerce faces, we have this is a speculated cybersecurity framework as well as the COSO framework. It's just a guess because it's what is close to what uh, e-commerce requires. We recommend uh, NIST cybersecurity framework, which was devised by the National Institute of Standard and Technology. The reason why we chose NIST as our cybersecurity framework is that it has been devised by the government and regulatory authorities, and plus it gives the be it a small scale or a large scale company to update their risk management approach. And as more organizations take their business to cloud, uh, NIST provides it covers uh, securing critical system, and as well as providing that standards which are above expected standards, industry standards. Mm, let's have a look at the number of steps which are involved in the cybersecurity framework. There are totally 5 steps. First is to identify the risk, cybersecurity threats, threat from hacking organizations, so on and so forth, the business environment, the governance, and then protect by awareness control, data security, maintenance, and then detecting suspicious anomalies and events, and then responding accordingly, and later setting up recovery plans so that the services are feasible and available to the best of efforts. Uh, Thank you very much.